Hey, today I want to talk about what plant medicine actually shows you about yourself. And I'm going to start by saying I have ADHD. My name's Tiffany. I'll get to the intro in a minute, but I have ADHD and I have to take notes because otherwise I get off on tangents. And while they're good, they're veering from what I want to do. So today we're talking about the psychedelic mirror and how when you take plant medicine, you're not receiving some crazy cosmic download. You are just confronting your own truth. And the medicine didn't give you anything. It just stripped away your ego so that you could finally talk to, love, care for, be with what was already there. Hey, I'm Tiffany, your guide to inner knowing and expansion, and welcome to Altered and Aware, where we talk about what happens when reality bends, the illusions dissolve, and you're left face to face with the rawest version of yourself. And so, this episode, again, is all about the psychedelic mirror, the truth that plant medicine doesn't show you something new, it shows you what's been buried, and how your real work starts the moment the ceremony ends. And so psychedelics reveal what's already inside of us. I think that a lot of people have this idea that somehow psychedelics are magic and you're getting downloads from the universe, somehow some new wisdom, right? But here's the truth, they don't hand you anything new, they just reflect back to you what you already know but haven't wanted to face. So those visions, those insights, those messages, they're your own subconscious. Finally being allowed to speak without your ego shutting it down. So when we call them downloads, we give the impression they're coming from the outside, that they're not coming from the inside. But if you think about it, everything is filtered through your subconscious mind and just being reflected back to you. So the substances lower the default mode network. And if you follow my content, you will realize that I talk about the default mode network a lot. It's the almost like processing system that's running in the background at all times. This is where our automatic emotions, behaviors, thinking, responses come from. When that's lowered, you get access to this unprocessed material, this emotional residue, and the deep truths that have always been inside of you. Because there's a lot of deep truths that we don't want to admit or talk about, maybe because they're hard, or you've had trauma, or there's deep truths that you just feel too afraid to think about, or to dream about, or to be about. And so the illusion of the breakthrough, I like the note that I took on this, so I'm just going to read it. So it's like breakthroughs are seductive. They feel like fireworks, sudden, dramatic, life changing. And I'm talking about the illusion of the breakthrough when you're taking psychedelics or plant medicine. So, really, these breakthroughs that you feel like you are getting are just accumulation of truths you've been circling for years, and psychedelics accelerate that confrontation. So, when you're done with the medicine, which doesn't last very long, sometimes it feels like there's all these new ideas or ways of being, like somehow things have been answered. And I'll get to my personal story about that. Really, it's just things that you've been thinking about, dreaming about, wanting to be about for your whole life or a portion of your life. And somehow you have learned that it's not okay. And so you suppress that. And when you suppress that, the ego starts talking and saying, no, you can't dream that, you can't be that, you can't think that, based on the conditioning of all of our experiences in life. So the moment that you have where it's like, "Ah, it all makes sense," that's really not magic. That's just clarity. I like this note, clarity meeting readiness. So you've probably been getting these signs and these nudges and this feedback from life all along, and you just haven't been listening to it. And the medicine just stops you from ignoring it. It's like you can't do better until you know better, and you can't see what you can't see. But once you see, then you can't stop ignoring it. So integration, I was going through my notes, making sure that I can get all of this in time, right? Integration is the real trip. And the ceremony might feel like the climax. But when you sit in the ceremony with curiosity, you realize it's an invitation and that the real trip begins when you return home. The glow fades and you have to live what you saw. Integration means taking insights and using it to interrupt the default patterns that you have. And sometimes that's all that takes is one ceremony, one plant medicine journey to interrupt the thing that's there. Integration is something that takes place maybe for the rest of your life in different capacities over and over as things are manifesting in different ways and you're trying to keep up. And so there's different ways that you have to integrate. Let's see, am I missing anything? Oh, going back to interrupting your default patterns. It's about, can you respond to conflict differently? Can you show up in your relationships differently? Can you come from a place of heart and mind and not just responses that were conditioned either from trauma, your upbringing, or just life in general? This is where most people fail. They chase the next medicine or they chase the next ceremony, the next journaling, the next somatic practice, EFT, all of it, instead of just embodying what they learned first. Integration isn't optional, it's where transformation takes root. So I'm going to talk about yeah, I'm going to talk about my personal story for a moment. And so it wasn't this grand vision that took place. I like this, just dark silence and the weight of the truth I couldn't ignore anymore. Sometimes I crack myself up with the notes I write because they're good. I was either my 30th birthday or my 39th birthday. I can't remember. In 2020, I had left Wisconsin and I had moved to Mexico. The way I did it probably wasn't the healthiest. It was more about maybe chasing something instead of being who I am with something. And so I was laying there on the beach, and when I took it for the first time, the D to the N to the T, more specifically, one that comes from a toad. I don't know what I can say. I keep saying psychedelics, so I don't know. Anyways, I couldn't let go the first time, and I felt something. I had some visuals with it, and the guy that was performing the ceremony was like, "Hey, why don't we do this again? It seems like you couldn't let go." So I did it again and I laid down and tears just started pouring down my face, a cry that I haven't felt like that ever in my whole entire life. When it was almost like everything that I was questioning was really answered without words. It wasn't like this cosmic download that I hear people talk about or like this connection to universal knowledge. It was a feeling inside of me and it made me cry. You're not running from your life and just uprooting to go somewhere. This has been a dream of mine. And I work towards that dream too, right? Like I tried to set my businesses up to be online. I don't know, but I still questioned it. Holy shit, I just blew up my life. Am I making the wrong decision? And there is no right or wrong decision. And that's what I've been learning in my own integration through the years is there is no right or wrong decision. There can be a bad way maybe to make those decisions, but it is just a decision and you move from there, right? So, what I really wanted to integrate for myself was that I needed to really start living my life for me. And not that living your life for you means you're disregarding anybody else, but it means I need to live from an authentic place. The things that I teach other people to do in my therapy practice, this is also what I needed to do. So, I don't know. It was pretty, I'm just going over my notes because it was a pretty powerful ceremony. And I want to reiterate this because it is in my notes that it was something that I felt in my body that made me cry. It's not some download. It was like I felt connected to something outside of me, which made me realize that the things that maybe I was fretting about are not as big of a deal as I'm making them out to be. So I cried, and it wasn't because I was sad, but it was because I realized I had been abandoning myself, maybe out of circumstance, but maybe just because I wasn't speaking up, but I had been abandoning myself for a very long time. And it was time for me to not do that. And the next couple of years were rough, and I go through cycles and patterns, ADHD, depression, mental health stuff. I can see the patterns full circle now and more quickly, and what I need to do to get out of them, I guess. So the medicine didn't give me anything new. It just removed my ability to keep lying to myself. And that's the mirror. That's the mirror. You are reflecting out, and life is reflecting back to you. And that's the moment that changes everything, when you can look at yourself in the mirror and interrupt your patterns. So the medicine doesn't give you truth, it removes your ability to look away. If this conversation stirred something in you, please join my free Telegram group. It's where I go deeper with people who aren't here for the fluffy stuff. They're here to integrate it, live it, and embody it without any bullshit. The link is in the description. And if you're ready to do this work in person with the medicine, and I'll repeat that again, if you are ready to do this work in person with the medicine, with the mirror, our retreat waitlist is open, and just message me. Okay. So I got through that, feeling a little nervous. This is also part of disrupting those patterns that I just want to talk about, is the nerves that come with posting something like this on YouTube. So thank you for your patience, and I can't wait to give you more.